World Trade Center's unmistakable two towers symbolize the decades of America's global dominance and economic power. It served as an inspirational icon for achieving success and ultimately the American dream. The new One World Trade Center's reflective glass calls for a better future in current days of division between political parties, which actions are reshaping the future of American generations yet to come. Its specific height of 1,776 feet is a reminder of the year when Declaration of Independence was signed. This skyscraper's biggest challenge is to fill the void left by the destruction of the former towers. In this video, we'll be directly comparing the aesthetical beauty between original and the new World Trade Center complex. We will try answering the question asked by so many: is the so-called Freedom Tower an appropriate replacement for the Twin Towers? You're watching Introvert. Please make sure to subscribe and ring the notification bell to be informed about my future content.
It's hard to be down when you're up on top of the world.
Most of the original buildings were designed by architect Minoru Yamasaki, who was largely inspired by Gothic and Islamic architecture. Yamasaki's other projects included Century Plaza Towers in Los Angeles, One MIT Plaza in Buffalo, New York, or Northwestern National Life Building in Minneapolis. If Yamasaki's buildings are known for something, then that is very narrow windows, and Twin Towers were no exemption, which windows were only 46 centimeters wide. This reflected Yamasaki's fear of heights, so he wanted to make building occupants feel safest as possible. Original complex was a lightweight steel structure, as around 200,000 tons of steel was used to construct the two towers. Built to fit the needs of the 1960s economy, towers used a then innovative framed tube design that allowed more open floor plans. You see, traditional skyscrapers' design has multiple columns throughout the interior, but in case of Twin Towers, core of the building and the outer skin were the only main components of the structural support. Around 40,000 people worked every single day inside these buildings, and with additional 2 million visitors per year, the problematic question arose during the construction: how to fit enough elevators inside the building's core but without cutting the space originally planned for offices. This problem was solved by another innovative concept: sky lobby. Two sky lobbies in each building were located on the 44th and 78th floor. Sky lobbies proved to be very functional, as people would take the express elevator from the tower's lobby all the way to the sky lobby, where they could switch to a local elevator that goes to each floor in section. The complex of 7 buildings contained 13,400,000 square feet of office space, which is equal to around 40 football fields. This enormously huge system was cooled by the cold water pumped directly from the nearby Hudson River. Original World Trade Center had 3 stairwells in each tower and 198 elevators in both buildings. Twin Towers had 110 floors. 8 floors in each tower were mechanical floors, leaving in total 102 accessible floors for tenants. On the other hand, new complex was developed by Silverstein Properties, led by billionaire Larry Silverstein, who purchased building 1, 2, 4 and 5 in July 2001 for more than $3 billion. In 1986, he had already purchased the building 7. While original boxy-shaped buildings emphasize the functionality and simplicity, new buildings strive for individual expression with variations of different designs. Unlike original complex, new buildings were all designed by a number of different architects. David Childs designed the One World Trade Center, formerly known as Freedom Tower. I wonder why they didn't keep that name, because it's very nice. David Childs previously designed numerous New York City buildings like 383 Madison Avenue, Time Warner Center, Times Square Tower, and others. New buildings are designed as glass structures reflecting the sky. Instead of striving for maximum office space, following 9/11, safety became main priority during construction of new complex. One World Trade Center is a hybrid structure composed of a high-strength concrete core and perimeter ductile steel moment frame. its final design largely depended on safety features. That's why its concrete base is windowless in order to protect the skyscraper from any truck bombs. From the 20th floor upwards, the building changes its shape into 8 tall isosceles triangles, making the building look like a pyramid from the street level. The new complex implements an environmentally friendly rainwater collection and recycling scheme for its cooling systems. High-tech management system optimizes energy use and indoor air quality based on data collected by thousands of sensors. Without a doubt, One World Trade Center is one of the most technologically advanced and environmentally sustainable modern-day buildings. This building has 73 elevators, but unlike original tower, it has more than just 3 stairwells, along with stairway exclusively made for firemen. One World Trade Center has 104 floors, which is 6 floors less than the original towers had. 28 are mechanical floors, which leaves in total 76 floors for tenants.
So come on up, take a good look around, have some fun at the top of the world.
The very top floors of the original North Tower included the highest grossing restaurant in the United States, Windows on the World. Along with restaurant, there was a more intimate dining room occupied by a smaller restaurant called Cellar in the Sky and a bar called the Greatest Bar on Earth. These restaurants had a specific high contrasted colors and the sun was almost absent except on windy days. Employees from all over the world worked in the kitchen, including Bangladesh, India, Nigeria, Australia, and more. Some of the food the menu included was arugula salad with walnut oil dressing for $5.50. Or what about a Gulf shrimp cocktail with freshly grated horseradish for $10? The restaurants opened in 1976 and worked barely for 25 years. Due to the cost concerns, the planned reopening of the Windows on the World was cancelled. Instead, new building contains 1 dine, 1 mix, and 1 cafe as a part of One World Observatory. 1 dine restaurant is located on the 101st floor, offering sprawling views helped by much wider windows than the original towers had. 1 dine menu offers arugula salad with fresh blackberries, jam, burled goat cheese, and pine nuts for $16. And what about chilled shrimp with French cocktail sauce, celery, orange, and fresh herbs for $18? Here is a direct comparison between Windows on the World menu and 1 dine menu.
So come on up, take a good look around, have some fun at the top of the world.
Perhaps original complex's biggest attraction was the observation deck called Top of the World, located on the South Tower. At 1,377 feet above the street level, this outdoor viewing platform was the highest in the entire world when it opened in December 1975. Composed of an indoor observatory on the 107th floor and outdoor observatory atop the South Tower's roof, visitors could see even Connecticut on a clear day. Indoor observatory featured attractions like 24 video monitors which provided descriptions of 44 points of interest in 6 different languages, a theater showing a film of a simulated helicopter tour around the city, or a model of Manhattan with 750 buildings. Top of the World ticket costed only $13.50. On the other hand, One World Observatory is located on the 100th floor of the new building. Elevator ride offers a 500 years of New York City history through industrialization and construction. Among the other technological features is an interactive tool called City Pulse, which gives visitors information and stories about New York City. Observatory also features a One World Sky portal on which visitors can stand and see the ground level streets. But unfortunately, new Trade Center building lacks an outdoor observation deck. Perhaps maybe this second building still under construction will have an outdoor observatory, but this hasn't been confirmed or ever mentioned. One World Observatory ticket costs $48 to enter. Much far below and between the 2 towers lied a 22-story hotel building with the address 3 World Trade Center. This steel-framed hotel was designed by Skidmore, Owings and Merrill firm, known for some of the world's most significant projects like Sears Tower in Chicago. It opened in 1981 as Vista International Hotel until host Marriott Corporation purchased the building in 1995. The building contained 825 rooms with the largest gym in New York City located on the top 22nd floor. Following 9/11, Marriott Corporation terminated their lease, which allowed September 11 Memorial and Museum to be built there. New buildings construction was relocated to the place where original Ford building stood. The new 3 World Trade Center is a 80-story building designed by Richard Rogers of Rogers Stirk Harbor Plus Partners. This architectural firm is known for Lloyd's Building and 88 Wood Street, both located in London, United Kingdom. Most of the third building's facade is a curtain wall with annealed glass, which are more resistant to shattering compared to the traditional glass panels. Facade also contain case-shaped bracing composed of diagonal beams in stainless steel. To me personally, it gives building a look like it's unfinished, but it actually reinforces the entire superstructure. 3 World Trade Center serves as another office building of the complex leased to a number of tenants like Uber, Hudson River Trading, and etc. Original third building might have been criticized for a simplistic boxy look, but the new building wasn't spared of criticism as well. James Gardner of Reed Dial, New York wrote how he can say with a reasonable confidence that it will prove to be the least architecturally interesting out of the 4 main buildings. Most famous for its red granite facade, 7 World Trade Center was a 47-story building designed by Emery Roth & Sons. Emery Roth & Sons was the most influential architectural firm in New York City during the 1950s and 60s. The firm worked on many popular projects that included MetLife Building, General Motors Building, Morgan Stanley Building, and many others. 7 World Trade Center structure was a tube-frame design which made buildings' floor plans considerably larger than the most office buildings in the city. A shipping and receiving ramp, which served the entire original complex, occupied the eastern quarter of the 7th building footprint. Some parts of the 1988 movie Working Girl were shot in the building lobby. Salomon Brothers was the largest tenant, occupying 64% of the building. The new 7th building was designed by Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, who designed the original 3rd building. Built on a smaller footprint than the original, this 7th building has a ultra-clear, low iron glass to provide reflectivity and light. Safety is emphasized with reinforced concrete core, wider stairways, and thicker fireproofing on steel columns. It is the New York City's first LEED Gold certified office building. September 11 was the biggest disaster ever to affect the art industry, resulting in an estimated loss of $110 million. Austin J. Tobin Plaza is where New Yorkers used to hang out and enjoy the music played on the large surrounding speakers. This plaza featured numerous pieces of art exposed to public, all of which were destroyed after the towers collapsed from the above. But there were 2 survivors largely intact. One is known as the Sphere. Created by German artist Fritz Koenig in 1971, at the time it was the world's largest bronze sculpture with dimensions of 7.6 meters or 25 feet, almost the height of a 3-story building. The sphere rotated once around its axis within 24 hours, while 600 liters or 60 gallons of water was sprayed around the sphere to give the impression almost like the sphere rises out of the water. Some looked at it and saw a globe. I personally see a globe, but almost like attached to someone's 2 fingers of a hand. This work of art was meant to symbolize world peace through trade. But in the post-9/11 world, Fritz Koenig said, quote, "It now has a different beauty. One I could never imagine. It has its own life, different from the one I gave to it. Since 2017, the sphere is located in Liberty Park where it originally stood, but now adapted to some different surroundings." Cloud Fortress by Japanese artist Masayuki Nagara was created in 1972 and was located at the plaza's entrance. Measuring 4.3 meters or 13 feet, it was similar to a height of an African elephant. Cloud Fortress depicted an abstraction of 2 pyramids attached to their bases and tilted upward. Immediately after the towers collapsed, this sculpture survived, possibly due to not being located directly underneath the towers. Unfortunately, it was demolished during emergency efforts to access and clear the site. I find demolition of the surviving structure saddening and quite unnecessary. Maybe they could have lifted it using an appropriate machinery, but just looking at the condition of a ground zero in the days following 9/11, it was near impossible for any breakthrough the hundreds of thousands of tons of debris. Ideogram was a 7 meters tall stainless steel sculpture created by James Rossetti in 1972. What seemed like the most abstract piece of art, Ideogram left little to no information of what it exactly represented. But it was the most photographed sculpture on Plaza and often appeared in movies such as Michael Bay's 1998 blockbuster Armageddon. Located directly between the two towers, it was destroyed when the towers collapsed and never recovered. Bent Propeller is a red stainless steel sculpture by Alexander Calder. Completed in 1970, it stood 7.6 meters tall, which was the exact same height as the sphere. The sculpture reminded of a ship's propeller, but Alexander Calder preferred not to analyze his art. Quote, "Theories may be all very well for the artist himself, but they shouldn't be broadcast to other people." Located under the 7 World Trade Center, it was crushed when the 7th building collapsed. On October 11, 2001, about 40% of the sculpture was recovered. Recognizable red paint was brushed off and the steel was still hot even 1 month since the attacks. Due to not enough original remainings, the sculpture couldn't be restored. Today, a portion of it can be found at National September 11 Memorial and Museum. On the location of former Austin J. Tobin Plaza, Liberty Park has been opened and decorated by a number of planted trees. Sound of a water is coming from 2 enormous reflecting pools, reminding people of the space that cannot be filled. In the recent couple of years, new public artworks have been presented to the public. Among them is the XO World Project by Daniel Anderson, which stands in front of the 1 World Trade Center. This sculpture, being 12 feet or 3.6 meters tall, represents some multiracial children engaged in a game of jacks. The X is illustrated by the jack, with crossed arms attached to the spoke, representing love in universal sign language. Anderson was inspired by, quote, "Children and their open acceptance of others. A child's mind and heart are free of prejudice regardless of race, gender, or religion." Jasper Split Star is a sculpture by Frank Stella installed in front of 7 World Trade Center. This piece is constructed out of 6 small geometric grids that rest on an aluminum base shaped roughly like a flower petal. The sculpture was inspired by paintings Stella made in 1962, Jasper's Dilemma, as a tribute to his contemporary Jasper Jones. Stella previously had 2 large-scale paintings in a lobby of original 7 World Trade Center. Telepilis Laestrygonia 1 and Telepilis Laestrygonia 2 were both destroyed when the 7th building collapsed. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, which took me a lot of time to make. So after watching a comparison between the old and the new World Trade Center complex, which one do you like better? Do you think the new Trade Center complex is an upgrade or perhaps a downgrade over the old one? Please let us know your opinion down in comments below. Thank you guys for watching again and see you soon in my next video.